What's up, guys? Ramadan Mubarak. This is the Beard Bytes. We're a lean, mean podcasting machine. This is episode 14. We're going to have some stuff for you about the Nvidia 5090 news, as well as WB having a bunch of cancellations and, NEMESIS System never coming out, essentially. And a fun story that I had in there was the Bungie bit. But yeah, let's see how that goes.
I was thinking, I was like, man, the next couple of episodes are all just gonna be teens. How are we gonna do an intro that's not the same? I guess it's nice.
Yeah,
that you were able to mix it up. I don't know if you have like Rhyme Zone opened up or something, but
I don't. That one I was workshopping since last night, but that's probably the
man's at the dinner table. You haven't touched your peas. No, I can't. I have to think about it.
Yeah, that's actually somewhat how it went, but in a good way. But Ramadan Mubarak to you, and Ramadan Mubarak to everybody who's listening. Oh yeah, Kareem Mubarak, whatever ethnicity you decide to celebrate, or whatever the
yeah, bro.
Not even water, huh?
Actually, bro, you said it wrong, bro. You're supposed to say Ramzan, bro.
Oh, sorry, Ramzan, Namaz, all that stuff.
For the subcontinental Asians, man.
Yeah. So, hey Frodo, what's up? I hear you.
Freaking Frodo, he's always here. I have the Discord noise suppression on, so it's crazy because, dude, I was trying to go to sleep last night.
Yeah.
And at like 3 a.m., like after support, I and I'm hearing it till now. There is like a freaking fairy horn like blaring every 45 seconds. Dude, I'm not even, so if you hear like a in the background, that's it. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's like World of Worlds where they have like the monsters have the siren, or the aliens have like these siren sound or something, but that's what I'm living through right now.
It's the air raid sirens. You just like kind of suffer through it. Yeah. Oh man.
Or what is it called? Like there was like a horror game. It was like called like something like Metalhead.
Siren Head.
Siren Head. Yes. Literally that. That's I think what I'm going through right now.
Oh my god, dude. It's just Frodo outside with the megaphone, just like.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Like I was gonna say, like where these cats are too smart, man.
Mm-hmm.
They know that if I say the word TREATS, they go bananas. I was about to say it, and I was about to send
them into a frenzy.
Yeah.
No, I woke up for suhoor this morning, and our cats usually like sleep on our bed, and I woke up and like they were sleeping between my leg like together. And then like I got up and they're like, "What the hell are you doing awake?" And I got out of bed and they're like following me around. They're like, "What is going on here? Like, why are you up at this time? Go back to bed." So
yeah.
I was greeted with my kitten. She's like we give her food 3 times a day, and we give the other cat food 2 times a day. But we're slowly weaning her off the 3 times. And she looked at me and she's like, "All right, bro, breakfast, like right now." And I was like, "No, you don't get breakfast until like 5 hours." And she was just screaming at me the entire time for suhoor. So that was great.
Yeah.
But
I can imagine, bro. I think daylight savings is coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in a week or so.
Actually, is it like, does the time move at that point?
Yeah, for us it's moving at least. So for us,
what do you mean for us? Like we're
I don't know, bro. You're up north. Y'all do something different up there. I'm like, I don't know, bro. Y'all got some. I got some weird stuff.
Dude. Bring forward March 9th. So man, that's crazy. Like prayer times are gonna get messed up. And
what time is your prayer at Fajr right now?
Well, it's 5. So Maghrib is like 5:50.
Okay.
That I think that goes up. They're gonna go up to 6:50, which. Anyways, whatever, bro.
Yeah. Ours is right now 5:40 a.m. for Fajr, and then 6:30 or 6:20 for Maghrib. But then after the time jump, it's gonna be. After the time jump, it's gonna be 6:30 for Fajr, and then 7:30 for Maghrib.
Yeah, bro.
So. Not too bad.
But last time Trump said he was gonna get rid of.
He did. Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, like, bro.
Yeah, well,
Man can't keep his word. Anyways,
yeah.
A little too political. Anyways, all right, let's roll back. Anyways,
how was your week? What'd you do for your week?
No, I didn't do much. I was gonna ask you because I feel like you've done more. I've just been, honestly, a lot of the days I've just not been feeling like gaming. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's just a lot of things going on at work and things. I'm just like, okay, I'm like checked out.
Yeah.
But I've been playing more VR recently,
Okay.
which I'm liking it. I used to play in my office, which is like this. It's like this. It's like a small room. It's like maybe like 100 square feet or something. It's
Mm-hmm.
like not the biggest thing. And I was playing wired in, but I tried going to my living room, which is like on this on like a whole wider area,
Yeah.
and just doing wireless with the Steam Link, and it
Mhm.
worked really well.
Really?
So I feel like I might be playing more VR.
Do you have to download an app for Oculus to do Steam Link, or how does that work?
Yeah, so because if you're gonna use if you're gonna stream Steam games like via cable, you have to have the Meta desktop app.
Mm-hmm.
So when on the headset, you can just go to the App Store and download Steam Link, and from there
Oh.
you can just connect directly to Steam.
Okay.
And it's like there's like a hitch of latency, but like when you're like moving around, like because I was playing Contractors VR,
Mhm.
that was
It's like a CS:GO,
that-
like, right?
not exactly CS:GO. Like there's actually it kind of is, but like it has it's a first person. I mean, it's VR. It has to be first person. VR game where you're like it's like pretty realistic with like how you handle like weapons and things. Like you can like it's to the point that you can walk up to somebody in VR and like steal their weapon.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and to reload, like there isn't a button to reload. You have to like take the magazine out, put the magazine in, like rechamber the gun, and which it gets crazy because like I've been playing more of like this like wave-based survival mode with a friend, which it's been pretty fun because like, oh my god, there's a dog, and like it's funny because like it wouldn't like for some reason they have it where it's like it's so realistic that if you drop a magazine, like it's gone because like you can't like it's hard for you to bend down.
Yeah.
So like I grab a magazine from my pocket and then like I'm like, oh wait, I didn't take the other magazine out from the gun. How do I
Okay.
do I throw one magazine up in the air, take this off, pick it up in the I don't know. It's like,
Dude, I want to try that. I have it like installed on my Oculus. I just haven't had a chance to play because I've just been work's been crazy as well.
You're gonna throw up if you play it.
Oh really? Oh man.
I think you have I
do have the sensitivity, yeah.
Vertigo, yeah, or whatever. Like, it's like they do have like the vignetting when you're moving.
Yeah.
But they're just it's still jarring to kind of move around, like to be stationary but moving in VR.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that you can build tolerance for. Yeah.
Yeah, but our friend was telling me like, oh, you just have to keep doing it and you'll get used to it. So I think maybe that might be the move to just keep trying, and then I'll. Maybe I'll get over it.
It's like allergies, honestly, if you think about it. You just peanut allergy, nah, you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel different.
Yeah,
more.
get over it. But
yeah, literally.
Yeah. Okay.
But aside from that, it was trying to wrap up Cobra Kai.
How was it? Did it end well or no? Did they do karate in space?
We have two more episodes.
Okay.
It's interesting because like it started off like such a cheesy show. I mean, the show itself is super cheesy. It knows what it is.
Yeah, and that's fine. I don't mind that, but like,
they dragged on the series for a long time.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
It's so interesting. Like even in this season, like season 6 or 7 or whatever, there has to be a skit about this because like you'll meet like they'll introduce random characters and they're like, oh, this guy, he's the referee, but he was in the 3rd movie as just like an extra that was fighting in one of the rounds, and it's like, do you remember him? And it's like, what the or like they'll have a henchman and be like, oh, you remember this guy?
I'm just waiting for Jaden Smith to show up and beat everyone's ass,
Honestly, they are making a movie with what's his face?
Jackie Chan, yeah.
Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. So I don't know how they're gonna combine it, but it's just interesting because like to me it's like they basically went through they're like, hey, let's go through all of the extras from the previous movies and let's see if we can bring them back some way. And then like every time they introduce them, they give you a flashback of the where they were in the movie. I was like, dude,
I
who
just
are
don't.
these
Yeah,
people?
I just don't think Karate Kid had that pull. That's what I'm surprised about. You know, like
Yeah,
I don't think everyone's like, dude, I
it,
hope this character comes back from the third movie. It's like, oh my
yeah,
god, there he is. Like, okay, like
it's literally the Mr. Poopy Butthole episode from Rick and Morty. Where basically there's this random character, like in Rick and Morty, there's this random character that shows up. His name is Mr. Poopy Butthole, and then at the same time there's this parasite that I don't know why I'm talking about this, but the whole point of is, hey, like it's like a flashback mechanic, and then like, oh, don't you remember me? We hung out at Disney World, and then like they have a flashback of them. That's how I feel with all these random characters showing up. It's just like a bunch of people just like, oh, hey, you remember me? I was in the background of Karate Kid 3, and it's like, okay,
no,
dude,
but I mean, you're
who was
here
the water
now.
boy in the bar scene when they
Yeah,
were fighting or something? It's like, dude, what is this?
this is John.
What?
This is John Kreese's left butt cheek, bro. You don't remember him? He's there. Like, he was.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
exists every time. So is it
yeah.
good so far? Or is it like kind of mid this season?
I feel like this season is better, but
Okay.
I'll be honest, it's hard to recommend because it's like it's been going on for so long. Like I think the reason why I kept watching is just like okay guys, they're definitely gonna end it in season 4. We've been saying that since
Yeah,
season
I,
three, you know?
I jumped off at like season 3 or 4. I was like, all right, man, like how much karate is there gonna be? You know, like
Yeah.
I felt that fatigue.
Literally everybody was kung fu fighting.
No, like quite literally, yes. I mean, are they in
Yeah.
Japan this season?
No. They're back in California.
Has his wife left him yet? Because she's like, bro, the house is on fire and you keep talking about karate and shit. Like, what is wrong with
Oh,
you?
dude, you're like literally on season 2 or season 3, dude. It's
Oh
no,
my.
they. Anyways, I'm not. It's not
Just
even
tell
worth
me what
spoiling,
happened.
but-
Did they get divorced?
No, dude, it's
Oh,
they're
okay.
back to they're still married.
Oh, okay. Well, because she was like, dude, if you don't stop this karate stuff, like our daughter had a broken arm or whatever, like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh man, all right, no, things not looking good in the macho household, I guess, in the Karate Kid verse.
Dude, wrong name. It's the LaRusso house.
Sorry, LaRusso.
not
I
even
was
a
trying to
true
remember.
fan,
I'm
bro.
sorry.
Oh my
this
god.
is not the Cobra Kai way, Miyagi
How do
Do.
you? Anyways, Eagle Frank Karate. Anyways.
Eagle.
No.
Oh,
Well, what about
man.
you, man? How's your week been?
My week has been interesting. I've been really busy with work, so I haven't had much time to play a lot. But what I did play, so I played some Civ 7. Nothing more to say on that. I'm gonna wait for more patches on that one to play more of it. I played a lot of Astrobot. I'm at the end. I just finished the Bird Galaxy. So I have to go to the final one or whatever. I have like 2 hidden like Astro whatevers to find. I'm like, okay, where are these dudes? So I'm looking for those. Honestly, a really great game. I think I'm liking it a lot. I think the thing that makes me a little sad about it though is that like I think the game is great and I think it's awesome, visually stunning or whatever. I think it makes me a little sad in a sense that like it's weird how this is such a brand game. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea of like Mario, for example. The reason Mario, in my opinion, I love it so much is like, oh, there's creative ideas, there's a world they've established, like this is awesome. This one, like I'm really liking the gameplay, I'm really liking the mechanics, but like the skin on the game is just really like throwing me off of it. It just feels like, okay, like this is like a corporate like game, you know, like, oh, I gotta go to the X button world, or I gotta go to like the Horizon Zero Dawn world, I gotta go to Uncharted, like things like that. Does that make sense?
I mean, I get what you're saying. So honestly, I think this is I don't want to say an issue. Like this is like part of like the subjective nature of like media consumption, right? Where like to me, like I was like, hey man, it's a game. You're just like I was just like I don't think even Sony was like expecting this, right? Like
Sure, yeah.
there's like an internal team that like normally does like tech demos and stuff, and like it's made up of like engineers from like other shut down Sony studios. So they have context and history of PlayStation. So they're like, well, like let's just do something. Like and like that's my understanding of how this kind of came about.
Yeah.
And so so when I looked at it, I was like, oh, look, neat. It's like I was looking at it like, oh, dude, like they're like doing like QT Easter eggs, right? But I think I didn't look at it as like this is corporate propaganda.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
then but
yeah.
no. I'm not saying like that's what you're saying, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I'm just saying that like I think like as it gets more popular, like the underrated value of it like is like diminished, and then like now people are gonna look at this like, oh, like why are people like so happy to see like this like corporate shovelware? It's like what difference is this between that and the freaking Burger King sneak game on the 360? Like it's like why is it so like
Yeah.
weirdly in your face that it's a promotional thing, you
And
know?
that's the thing. I don't think the game is bad. I actually really like the game, and like it's fantastic. I'm loving playing it. I want to keep playing it. It's one of those things where it's more so it makes me sad that there's not more platformers with this level of creativity and this level of like sauce and juice behind it. You know?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I say this fully knowing that if a game like this were to come out, like that is sauced and all this stuff, but it's like a different brand, I don't know if I would pick it up, because I'm like, I don't know that brand, like whatever. Like I know Mario's good, like whatever, right? And it's like a weird cyclical thing where it's like, oh, this kind of game does exist. Like Hat in Time, I played Hat in Time, really enjoyed it, but Hat in Time and this I played on friends' recommendations. Like this one was for you, the Hat in Time was for a different friend. Otherwise, I wouldn't have picked it up. Otherwise, realistically, right?
Yeah.
So it's this weird thing of like, I'm really liking this game and I wish there was more of it. At the same time, if there was more of it, I don't know if I would pick it up, because I'm like, oh, that's just some random like whatever. I don't care, you know? I think part of it is because like things like I picked up like Ori and the Blind Forest on my own and I played it, and I genuinely think that Ori and the Blind Forest, like it's fun. I don't think it's worth the hype that it gets, to be completely honest. I think that it's a visual experience first and foremost, and I think gameplay wise, and I think that the length of the game, it doesn't justify like the reason I'm feeling it for this game is like, dude, this game is long. It has a lot of content. There's a lot of like depth to the systems and things like that. I didn't get that with Ori, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying Ori is a bad game. For me personally, when I took that chance of like, oh, here's a third party thing that's different, I didn't feel satisfied, you know?
Yeah, like granted, it is a different game.
It is,
like,
yes.
But I do see what you're saying. That like, for example, like there is other 3D platformers like I think it's like Ukulele, Hat in Time.
Yeah.
There was one I saw Donkey play. I forgot, but and it was in his like top games of the year. But like I feel like part of gaming is like a vibe or a feeling. And I like, and I think like just like what is it called? They call this internally at Team Asobi. They call it like techno magic or whatever, which is it's like the like how the controller feels with the visuals on screen, like how that like feedback from the tight use of vibrations and the speaker design, like audio design from the speaker, and how things light up in like as you're moving like through grass and things like that, like gives like this like very like goblin goopy brain, like monkey brain feeling of like I like this. I think part for me like to go back to the vibe aspect is like I grew up playing I grew up playing on Sony, right? Like I owned everything besides the PS1.
Yeah.
So for me, like, and granted, like I didn't know a lot of the references, but there was a lot of like characters that I was like, yo, like the attention to detail that they gave to the character was awesome. And then like if you get the gacha like accessory item, the interactable that you do is so like, okay, I'm just get like, for example, like I'm assuming you already got like the Bloodborne.
Yep. And he parries
right?
you.
Yeah, dude, I did that and I was like, that is so cute. Like why, like, because like normally like why would you go up and punch like an NPC, but then he does something that's like super specific to the game, and you're like, oh, they cared about this. Like it felt like, oh my, like it just felt like oh, like I'm watching somebody like care about the things that they have, or like care about the things that they're pumping out. There's like there's one character like have you done all the challenge all like
I did I did all of them.
Okay, so you got Kiryu, right?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Okay, did you get his gacha?
I did. Yeah,
dude, it's so good.
It's so good. You hit him and just stuff falls out of him, and it's like, oh yeah, like this would make sense, you know? Like, yeah, so well done. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the game is great. The game is fantastic. The game itself, it's the reason, or part of a reason it's so good, is because it's able to leverage all these IPs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the primary reason it's good, but that's a very big part. I can hit the Bloodborne character, I can hit Kiryu, I can hit like, you know, all these other guys, and they do something unique. I'm like, oh, I recognize that. Like like you said, it activates a dopamine part of the brain. I don't know, like, and like Mario's the same way, where like if you play like New Donk City in Mario Odyssey, that level's fantastic. It's such a well built level. There's so much going on. It's so fun. And I feel like this one, like, there's just something about it that really, like, I want this in other games. At the same time, I don't know if I would play other games if they had it. You know, I'll play Mario because I know Mario, and I'm not gonna play ukulele because I don't really, like, I'm not seeing anything that I'm like, oh yeah, that's it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a weird conundrum for sure, you know?
Yeah.
What were you saying?
It's I don't know. I was gonna say something, but I would say, like, I think part of the reason, like, also, like, that, like, makes this feel like a bit that I can, like, kind of write off the, like, oh, corporate propaganda thing, is that, like, this I think was made in consideration of, like, PlayStation's 30-year anniversary, right? So I think for them it was like, hey, like if you play Astro's Playroom, it felt like very much, oh, like,
yeah,
you're gonna collect like every PlayStation product or whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. But like here, it's like, oh, like, let's get all the brands that kind of built who we are over the years. And then it, like, I don't know, it was, anyways, I'm just gonna stop. I was gonna say more, but anyway, it's good.
Okay,
Like, and I think that, like, in consideration of, like, oh, this is like let's celebrate the people that, like, everything that kind of got us to here, like, even the non-first party games. It's like they're included, so that's good to see.
Yeah, there's just a lot of care. The game is great, and that's something that I'm really liking. What else did I play? I also played. So I'm playing Monster Hunter right now. It just came out like 2 days ago. It's fun. It's very much like they, for whatever reason, for the life of them, cannot release like a good PC port. So like I'm playing it. I'm doing okay because I just recently upgraded my machine. But like I do see stuttering. I do see all this stuff. So I don't think I'm gonna play more. But I'm waiting for this patch. So we'll find out what happens, I guess. Monster Hunter World also had the same issue. So not surprised at all. Nothing more to say on that. I'm still at the beginning parts of the game, but I heard the story's pretty good, so which I'm very surprised about. Most people don't care about the story in a Monster Hunter game.
I heard that, like, people were annoyed with the story, or how, like, they, like, the story aspect, like, is like a bit handholdy, but I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I haven't gotten far enough to feel that yet, but that's a valid complaint, so I'll let you know when I get there, if I get there. And the last thing I played, I sunk a lot of time into this, which is really interesting. Avowed. Last time I talked about it, I've only played like an hour and a half of it, and I had a few thoughts, and you were like, hey, like, you barely played it. Not really fair to give a comparison. And I agree, right? I played it for like an initial 30 minutes afterwards, and then I was like, like, whatever, uninstalled it. And then I was chilling and like just doing whatever. I was playing like Hades 2, and I was like, I have this weird itch. I want to play Avowed again. So I re-downloaded it and I played it, and I sunk more time into it. I think I have like 4 or 5 hours into it at this point. It's one of those things where it's like a weird game to where I don't think my opinion on the game has changed. I don't think the game is doing anything that's like super unique or amazing, like this is the game, you know. At the same time, this game holds like a really interesting place in like my current rotation of like, I just want something that's like mediocre. I want something I could just sit and just kind of like explore the world and like not really care about the story and play like my Skyrim-esque combat, if that makes sense. Because the combat does feel good. I'm not, you know, and there are some cool things about the combat and all that stuff. But at the same time, if someone were to be like, oh, dude, like, do you recommend this game? I don't think I would. I'd be like, it's fine. And like, that's it. I wouldn't go any further than that. But it's doing this.
Would you say it's a Game Pass game?
It is very much a Game Pass game. Absolutely. Okay. I think it's a game that, like, weirdly enough, like, and I still have to download it because I do want to play a little bit more of it. I haven't hit the point where I'm like, okay, like, I'm done. But like, it's just scratching that itch of like, like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't mind it. Like, it's whatever. But again, like, not to talk bad about the game, not to say the game is a terrible game, but it's just, for me, I'm just like, yeah, like, it's a safe game, you know. I don't know, like, I think like I would say that you should try it out just to see how this formula translates for someone like yourself, because I know you're not a fan of, like, the Skyrim whatever. Like, I would like to see your opinion on it. I don't think you'll like it, but we'll see. But it's very much like it's an interesting game, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I hate to break it to you, my Game Pass is expired, so I need to adjust that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
lock
just...
in. But
yeah, I mean, otherwise we can't really do this is gas on Game Pass. I have to buy every game now.
yes, sir. Have fun with your mountain of expenses.
Yeah, or I can just go through our family share backlog.
That is a good point, actually. I'm sure we
I
could
think
also
there's
do
like
that.
literally 1,000 games there.
Yeah, probably. There's quite literally
Yeah.
1,000, but we'll see, I guess. But yeah, that was my week. Watch Severance, still catching up. Great show. Obviously, nothing more to say.
Are you not caught up with Severance?
I just watched season 2, episode 5, I think.
Okay.
So
I think 7 just came out.
yeah, I'm 2 episodes behind, but I think it's Islamophobic that the finale is going to come out during Ramadan, but whatever, it's fine. I'm not upset. But yeah,
You sound pretty upset. But
I'm not upset, I promise.
It's a great show. Again,
It is
if
really
you haven't
good.
watched it, you guys should definitely watch it.
Yep, it is a really good show. And now, you know what else is pretty good? Not Nvidia's cards. Well, it was a terrible segment.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So
You are not a mall cop.
yeah.
That was not you do not have a segue.
Ooh, okay.
That
All
was
right.
yeah,
All right.
dude, that
All
was
right.
like that was a third grade freaking burn. Yeah, dude.
Stop it! It's not cool. But so we touched on it a bit ago, but essentially it's in the news that Nvidia is having some issues with the power connectors on their 50 series, specifically 5090, and I think 5080 is also being affected, to where the power is pulling the connector on the what's it called on the Founders Edition cards is pulling so much power that it's melting the connectors. Not a good look. Obviously, a huge issue, but okay, whatever. Like maybe it's like a small
they're
thing.
2 for 2 on this. Like the 4090 was doing the same thing last time.
It was,
So,
and
like,
people thought that this one would be fixed, and it wasn't. So now this is the situation we're in. Fast forward to this week, and Nvidia has more issues coming about their 50 series cards, to where they're missing ROPs. Nvidia has confirmed the issue, and there's also a rare chip fault which occurs in the 5090 and 5070 Ti. It's really interesting.
Just a quick thing. Yeah, the ROP just stands for Raster Operations Pipeline, which is just how it does the, like, when people talk about like GPUs and fake frames. I think in this section is like from what I understand, ROP is supposed to be like the raw, like old school traditional computing of like frames, and not like the AI rendering stuff that they're doing with like DLSS. So like they're like those are the units that are being missing on some of the graphics cards, just for quick context. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I mean, that's good. So that's the thing, right? Like this is translating to, essentially these issues are translating to a 4% confirmed by Nvidia loss in what's it called? Loss in what's the word? Performance, right? That's the thing that is kind of shocking people, is that Nvidia confirmed 4%. However, users are citing, hey, I think it's more, and all that stuff. And what the issues of these cards is that people are seeing with testing and things like that, it's not much of a generational jump in terms of raw power without, DLSS, things like that. They're saying that the power jump is not enough. It's like 10 to 12% from the 40 series cards. And then if you take away this 4%, that gap becomes even smaller. So now people are wondering, like, what's the point of these cards? Like, if there are these issues, and obviously it's not affecting all cards, and the cards are still like good in a sense that like they'll run your games and all this stuff, but it begs into question, like, what is Nvidia kind of doing? I mean, like, what are your thoughts? Like, because I look at this and I'm like, dude, like, I was gonna get a 50 series card, but now I'm like, I don't know if I want to, right?
Yeah, it's a interesting situation, because I think like, so like I'll give context from what I know, right? Is that from what I know is that they they for like a GPU set, like they built out like the same compute like block, like they pump them out regardless, like for like a given amount of actually, let me take a step back. Imagine just like a square block. That square block is supposed to have these many compute units, right?
Right.
And it's hard to manufacture like silicon like at like to that degree. So some like a lot of times things come out like the compute block comes out and it's like some of the units are defective, right? So the way like they, as they're going through the production line, they'll essentially take those blocks and they say, okay, the ones that have the higher complete unit set will go to the 90 series. The ones that have like I don't know, 80% becomes the 80 series. The less compute units you have, the more the determines where it'll go in the product category.
Right.
I think it's probably to streamline production, but like the amount of like compute units, like the block itself is the same. It's not like a unique architecture between each of the series cards. So part of this probably is like, oh, the process of the selection of where the block goes, if it goes to 90 series or 80 series or 70 series, that's called binning.
Okay.
So probably they messed up on the binning here, and it's reflecting like not accurate performance.
Okay.
And they basically said, hey, you can reach out and get a different card. But one of the claims that I think is interesting is because they are releasing the 5070 and 5070 Ti, and people are seeing that like, oh, if the same margin error is applied to the 5070 and the 5070 Ti, like, oh, like let's say you buy a 5070 Ti instead of the regular 5070,
right?
You get hit with the missing units. You're paying more money for basically a 5070 like performance. So it's like they're kind of shooting themselves on the foot here.
Yeah.
Because like 8 units, like I think in regards to how this stacks up within Nvidia's product line, if you like shaving off 8 units from the 90 versus the 80, it's like, okay, like it might not be that crazy, but between the 5070 Ti and the 5070, it's like, dude, you're getting hosed on this.
Exactly.
So,
and yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, time will tell how Nvidia decides to respond and what they're gonna do. There are workarounds in the sense that like a lot of the partner cards are not having these issues, but some are. So we'll see what happens. I think it's just generally like a little disappointing because Nvidia for a long time, the reason you would go with Nvidia over AMD is because they have that like, oh, like we're good and we know we're good type factor, you know? Yeah. But now it's like they're having these issues. Are they good anymore? Is it worth trusting this corporation to like fix these issues, or is it worth going for them? I don't know. I mean, what if you had the option, would you get a 50 series card, like knowing all this stuff?
Probably not. Like I'm not hurting right now. Like I have a 3090 and I'm like most of the games I want to play, I can play them at whatever setting I want.
Right.
And don't feel like I have a horrible like time with like performance.
Okay.
Like I think if I were to upgrade to like a 4K setup, then probably I would need to get monitors. But like I feel like I really like 1440p. So like and games aren't like extremely demanding at the moment. So yeah, maybe in the future we'll see. But I think this is probably like they're leaning heavy into the whole like AI rendering aspect, right? Which I guess like there's a lot of advancements there, and they're trying to kind of like set the standard of how games should like pivoting off of traditional like rendering like models in favor of like like whatever like AI, like for example, like they had this whole thing about like how to make texture smaller but also like give high fidelities that they can like in real time like enhance the like lower resolution textures,
right?
So like and that you can't really do that with traditional games, not traditional games, but like traditional rendering that like is like rendering process. I'm not too into the weeds about like the technical aspect of it.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, basically what you're saying is that like the Nvidia's trying to say, oh, this AI upscaling is the way of the future, so we're prepping for that versus having raw horsepower. And
like, that's why like they were able to become like $1 trillion. I don't know if it's a $2 trillion company or something, but like they're no longer a graphics company. They are an AI company. So
Mm.
I think it's like how they're kind of pivoting this way. So which sucks because like I think like the gamers are kind of getting left in the like hung out to dry, I guess is the term. But
Yes, but actually, interestingly enough, that leads us to our second story here, which is essentially AMD kind of saw this opportunity, and they had planned this already before, but this could not have worked out better for AMD, where essentially what's happening is AMD said, hey, like, here's our 9700, 9070 and 9070 XT announcement for our graphics cards. Now, they've announced these previously, and then they actually rescinded the announcement, essentially saying, hey, like, we're going to wait for Nvidia to announce their prices and all this stuff, so we'll get back to you guys in a later date. So if you're wondering why this sounds like deja vu, it's because it kind of is a little bit. But they announced for their prices for the 9070 is going to be $549 and 9070 XT is $599. Now, these prices are fantastic. These are really good prices for a graphics card. These are like really fairly priced in the sense that, like, well, okay, caveat, we don't have any reviews out yet of the cards. We just have what they said on stage. But if what they said on stage is to be believed, it's essentially equivalent to a 5070 and a 5070 Ti. And the difference here is that AMD has focused on raw horsepower in their cards versus the focus being AI upscaling. Now, AI upscaling is still a thing for these cards, but they're like, hey, but you should still be able to run these games just on a raw, like, basis of, like, the graphics card can power it, which is awesome. And so I saw this and I thought, oh, snap, this is actually, like, a pretty crazy, like jump, or rather a pretty crazy, like, announcement. And I'm waiting for the like, reviews to come out. But realistically, I think I kind of want to go for these kind of cards, honestly, like with the pricing and the performance and all this stuff. So I don't know, like, what do you think?
I mean, like it's good to see that AMD is like positioned to be like taken serious this cycle.
Yeah.
Because I think like they kind of figured out like, okay, like we don't really want to go toe to toe in the top of the line market, like we'll just stick in the mid range,
Right.
Which I think if they can kind of win that, like definitively win that segment, like they're kind of, I think, showcasing more and more that they are for the gamers, and that because like Nvidia has like bigger fish to fry when it comes to AI, because like that is making more money. So I think if they can kind of like sneak up and claim the like the forgotten land or forgotten castle, then I think it'll set them up for the future. I like, this reminds me a bit of how, like, not exactly one to one with how the Intel and Nvidia like chipset stuff went down, where Intel for a long time just kind of like coasted and said, hey, like we're not going to take AMD seriously, and then AMD did like a crazy architectural shift that made their CPUs insanely better. Like they focused and doubled down on making like the best performance and the best efficiency. So like they kind of like were hungry to get that to kind of beat Intel in all their like in all the segments of like best budget, best
CPU,
mid-range,
and best
best high performance, like for CPU. So I don't know if they're doing that here with Nvidia, but it's good that like at least like they've had issues with pricing in the past from my understanding.
Yeah.
And so here these are priced like pretty competitively. Interested to see if these will maintain at MSRP, or if third-party manufacturers are gonna like muck around with the MSRP. Like I don't know, because like that's also happening with like the 50, like the RTX 50 series, where it's like, oh, the 5070 is such a great price, but then like you go look to buy it and it's like, oh, it's not $599, it's actually like $899 because they added like 5 fans, and it's like,
right.
why are manufacturers doing this?
Yeah, but I think the difference here is that like the base is starting so low, it's already $150. Like I'm willing to pay an extra $100 for like extra like 4 gigs of VRAM, if that makes sense. You know, like I don't personally mind that. Hopefully the cheaper options are still available, like you're saying, and that you know, I agree with that idea as well, that they should be. But
do you feel like you want to like? Do you feel like you're like are in? I don't know what's the term. Like kind of buy before all the tariff stuff comes out, or is it? Are you feel like you're hurting for an upgrade?
I do want an upgrade. I was planning on getting an upgrade I upgraded my system recently, my CPU and everything like that, motherboard and all that. I am planning on upgrading my GPU. I did want to get it before the tariffs, but at the end of the day, I decided to wait on the Nvidia cards because it's like really expensive. Thankfully I did, because now this option might be available for me depending on reviews, and if they're good, then I'm like, oh dude, I might just jump to that, you know. So we can see how that goes. I don't really care for this AI upscaling, AI technology stuff. It's not for me. I don't use it in my day-to-day and all this stuff. I prefer having the game be able to run just good based off my hardware versus having to implement extra software on top or extra features on top, you know. But I don't know. I am very curious. I am curious to see how this goes. I think I will hopefully cop this card, but we'll find out. We will find out. And that leads us to our next story, to where, you know, Balatro. I know Balatro. Everyone knows Balatro, right? Well, a couple weeks ago, we covered the story of Balatro being rated as 18 plus in by Pegi, which is the what's it called? Like the EU's version of ESRB. They rate games, and people were like really confused, and the creator, specifically Local Thunk, kind of came out and said like, this is ridiculous, like there's no gambling in the game, like why are games like FIFA and games like that have like loot boxes and actual gambling and you spend money on it and people have lost money on it allowed to exist without the PEGI 18 rating, but not my game, you know? And he was saying it more from the perspective of like, you know, this rating needs to be looked at because like it doesn't make sense, right? Like you have to be consistent. One of these games actually has gambling, the other one doesn't even have, you know, it has gambling themes technically, but not really, you know. Then it came to this week to where Pegi actually lowered the rating on Balatro from 18 to 12. He was able to petition it. His publishing company was able to get it through. So now Balatro is now Pegi 12 versus Pegi 18.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's get all the young kids onto gambling. This is it, bro.
Yeah.
Bing, bing,
Bing, bing, bing, bing, bing. So
for context, we're doing the scoring sounds. That's what we're doing. That's the sounds we're doing. When you have the Baron card and you have a bunch of kings in your hand and they're all out steel with red seals, it keeps re-triggering and it makes bing, boing, bing, 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 sounds.
Boink, bing, 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 whoop. It's a fantastic.
That's so accurate, dude. Like, bro. What if? Okay, hear me out. And edit, and post and edit. Just add a quick sound bite of the game. Bing, boing, bing, bing. Like just so. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or don't, and then just make me sound like I'm schizophrenic.
We'll see. Well, you'll find out when this podcast comes out. You know.
Yeah, we're gonna find out together.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if this is. I mean, it's good that like he's not getting dunked on.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if this is gonna like make them reconsider, like games moving forward. Like it's good that like they.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So like, because like I feel like honestly like I might like be peeking into one of the next stories or something. But like I feel like with gaming, like there's a lot of old farts that like don't know or like they just look something at like on paper and be like, this is exactly how it's supposed to be. Like, and I think that's like
what do you mean a soccer game has gambling in it? What are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like, oh, like they're opening characters for their team, but like versus like, yo, I see a Joker and I see a flush and I see a deck of cards. This is poker.
Yeah.
Like and like on like if you look superficially, if you just look at it, it's like I can see the mistake that's being made.
I mean, I've played it and people will be like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm not gambling, I swear. And they're like, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, honestly,
that's a good point. I don't think it will cause people to look twice at games like Pegi specifically, because I just don't think that like I do think there's some lobbying going on with like FIFA, things like that. Like, why wouldn't there be? right? So
Yeah.
it's
Like yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, I think lobbying is probably at role here. Sorry to cut you off. I
no,
like
you're good.
because like there's probably like ways to just be like, hey man, like it's like I don't know if it's like a too big to sink kind of situation. Because like, if they're going after like one loot box, you got to go after everybody. And like I think there's a lot of key faces like EA
Yeah.
and like some of the probably like Chinese publishers that like are free to play model games like really kind of live on the battle pass and
Yeah.
um what a loot box situation. But I think part and okay, this is gonna hopefully it's gonna be a good transition if unless you don't want to. But I think part of the reason why like I think this got miscategorized
Mm-hmm.
is because you have like older people that don't have context of like what gaming is and like how things are supposed to be operated and perceived, but they are in key decision making places.
That is
Such
a
as
okay.
Warner Brothers, where they like the head of Warner Brothers was literally like I think people internally were quoting him, not quoting him like they were talking about him saying, "Oh, like the head of WB Games doesn't understand, doesn't understand gaming at all. Doesn't understand the business behind it, but he's in charge of it." Which leads into kind of like the next story of how Monolith Studios and the Wonder Woman game got shut down alongside a couple other studios such as Player First Games that worked on multiverses, which is crazy because I think they bought them specifically for multiverses.
So yeah, here's the thing, right? So like Ahmed said, these studios are closing down, which is crazy because last week we were just covering how we found out Wonder Woman game has changed from the Nemesis system to something else, and then this week we find out, hey, actually that game is just canceled, right? And the whole studio is closed down. With Player First, we can go over that in a sec, but with Player First Games specifically, what happened was they were contracted with Player First to make multiverses for like a multi-year contract, right? But what ended up happening is that they were told like, hey, like you have to honor this contract or whatever the case is. So what WB did, instead of honoring the contract and being like, oh, like I can just like, you know, instead of paying for this game to be online, things like that, it's not profitable for us. They bought the company that they made the contract with, therefore making the contract with themselves, right? And then they could close the studio without any worry of violating that contract because now they own the contract.
Wait. Repeat that one more time. I did not.
So, okay. So it's like a very Ouroboros type situation where Player First Games makes multiverses, right? They come to W, say, hey, like we're going to make this game, like whatever. W said, yes, okay, let's enter a contract. We'll make this game, right? This contract is made. Somewhere along the way, WB says it internally, oh, I don't think this game is going to do well, or like we don't really care, not really passionate about this game, but we can't close this game down because we have a contract. So what are we going to do? I'll tell you what we do. Let's buy Player First Games, the creators of multiverses. That way we own them, therefore we technically don't have a contract with them, we have a contract with ourselves. Therefore, hey, game is canceled. Hey, what about the contract? What contract? We own the contract.
Damn.
Yeah. Which is really scummy. It's really stupid. I think a big part of this, the thing that really affected this like progression of multiverse, is the fact that it was online, it was working well, and then they took it offline for some reason, forced to switch to Unreal Engine 5, and then when it released again, it just was not in a good state to play. So that kind of killed the game even faster, I would say, you know? So that's multiverses. That is done. It's over. Nothing is, you know, coming from that. And then alongside this announcement, there was as we said earlier, Monolithic Games, creators of the Shadow of War, Mordor, Shadow of War, the Fear games, and the, you know, now canceled upcoming Wonder Woman game, has also been shut down, which really sucks. I was excited to see this game come to light, but it's not happening. You know, it's one of those things where WCB said we need to focus on things like Batman, Game of Thrones, and Harry Potter. The rest of the stuff, and what's it called? Mortal Kombat. if it's not that, then we don't care about it. And they've shuttered that studio. They also shuttered WB San Diego, I think, but no one
I think it
knows.
was I think it's like they did like mobile games.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, but it's, man, this is crazy because like right now I was on the side, like like they don't know what they're doing, man. Like so like real quick, like I because I was curious, I was like, why like this such sudden things. So my guess is that it looks like the earnings call, like from what I can tell, like I can't find the exact date, but last year they had earnings call like at like first or second week of March, like March 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a chance that like they're like, hey, let's just claim all these losses and just for like some tax benefit or something. Like that's my guess, because like it was like such a sweeping motion for them to do this, and like I feel like it like kind of blindsided like folks, like even like the teams and like people hearing about it, because like we had a report saying, oh, it's rebooted, and then next week, bam, Wonder Woman game canceled. So but like WB itself, man, it's like they're in such a free fall because like I think after they merged with Discovery, there's a lot of like I don't know if it's just like a sense of identity that is not there, but they have like I think they're just so focused on, like, this is like the obvious thing to say, but like just like the bottom line profitability aspect.
Right.
But like they don't understand like what make like the strengths that they are holding to for their cards, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if they like for like to like okay, I was gonna make a freaking Balatro or a poker reference, but they don't know the weight of what they're holding, and then they're like, oh, I don't like the hand, let me discard in favor of like, because I want to hold like all aces, and it's like, dude, you don't understand what you're holding on. Like they arguably made the best superhero trilogy, arguably top 3 trilogy of all time, and and they squandered it, and like they had a very promising fighting game division, like with Mortal Kombat and Injustice. Like even though like it's not my cup of tea, it was arguably like the most like successful and popular fighting game franchise. Like they had things going for them, but like they could not leverage the strengths that they had. But they were blindsided by like schemes to make money. I don't know.
Right.
And,
it's one of those things where when you look into the breakdown of what's going on, why this happened, there's a tweet from Jason Schreier from Bloomberg. He basically said, essentially, like what happened was the leadership team behind the Middle Earth games that were really good, every single one of them left in 2021 after like WB canceled their game, which is most of them just left and started a new studio in EA. Monolith then began working on Wonder Woman, but it simultaneously had to rebuild its entire leadership team. And then he also said lots of other folks followed them too. Warner Bros. Games under President David Haddad put Monolith in the impossible situation of having to simultaneously rebuild a studio while starting a new game from scratch. Of course, it didn't work out, which I would agree, because at the end of the day, like this is such a dumb like they wanted to do something else, and Warner Bros. Like, you need to do this or else, and they're saying, okay, then I'll take the or else, and they left. Talent exodus, and same thing happened with Rocksteady as well. A lot of the people who play Rocksteady games or who made the Rocksteady games what they were, they're not there anymore. Obviously, like you could see that when Suicide Squad came out, that game came out and didn't really play like the other games. And so with the announcement of this new Batman series coming out that they're working on things like that, it's like I said before, like I'm not excited because I don't know what that entails. Like I'm excited if it's Batman Beyond, but it doesn't have any of the same team that made Batman good.
Yeah. And like the game director, like I think they started a new studio. I can't find what it's called.
Okay.
Oh, it's called the 100 Star Games. Sefton Hill, he was the original founder of Rocksteady. So interested to see what they do there. But it's crazy that I think WB as a whole, like from even like, I mean, granted with what's his face, James Gunn, like maybe some of the like animation or cinema side stuff might get better,
right?
But like I just feel like they're flooding, like they've been flubbing so hard, like since Snyder Cut, or the Snyder Justice League. Like that
Yeah.
whole segment just like was like dog water.
They're
And
just not
I
thinking
think
these
people,
moves through, you know?
yeah, It's very short-sighted. And like apparently, dude, Matt Reed, what's his face? Who's like Robin Pattinson might not even be in Batman 2.
Huh? Shut up.
No,
that's
I'm not
true.
even joking. No, I like here. Okay, I'm gonna go live Google right now.
I don't, bro.
Batman
if that's the
2.
case, my God.
I feel like I heard something, or they said that he said okay, he'll be 40 when Batman 2. It says okay. Keep Robin Pattinson out of. Oh, okay. I misread it. My bad.
Okay, dog, I was just saying, there's no way.
Okay. Right. So I think. So I think I was just scrolling through Twitter or something, but I and people were saying, "Oh, get Robert Patterson's Batman away from the James Gunn's cinematic universe."
Yeah.
Right? So
And James Gunn has come out and said,
"Oh,
like,
he's
no.
not." Yeah.
Yeah. As in, it's not happening.
He's gonna be an older guy because like one article is saying like, yo, this dude's gonna be 40 when the movie comes out, and I think that's like some point. Like Tom Holland was saying the same thing. He's like, yo, dude, I'm gonna be an old dude. I can't play a teenager anymore. That's in high school or going to college. So yeah, but anyways, WB I think strategy across the board is like they don't have confidence. And like they're like you have non-gaming people like making games like, and I think like from the cinematic movie side, I think they're good because like you have James Gunn, who has a pretty good proven track record of understanding the source material and making like arguably made Marvel movies like the formula that they have, which I mean you can argue about that like if it's good or bad, but I'm just saying like it was so successful. Guardians 1, such a smash hit, but he was also able to evolve it into where like Guardians 3, like a lot of people were like, damn, this hit hard. So you have somebody that understands that aspect of it, and I think the gaming segment, they don't have like an equivalent of that. And so now you have just a business guy, like I'm being super generic, I don't know these guys. I'm just gonna say business guy with MBA. We gotta make games profitable. But they don't
and they're like, oh, let's hit. Okay, what makes games profitable? Oh, well, duh. Obviously, like you gotta hit all the markers. Harry Potter, Batman, Game of Thrones is popular. And it's like, dude, it's like 2025. I don't think anyone's talking about Game of Thrones at this day and age. Like, realistic. Like, there's House of the Dragon, but I don't know. I don't think that's like doing anything worthy of like pulling people into gaming. You know, like
Like the brand is so done. Like
And
like, and they also took so long to make a Harry Potter game. Like I feel like now, like now you're just dealing with Disney adults. You don't have you don't have like the youth going for it.
Well, they are redoing Harry Potter to be a TV series.
I guess, bro.
I guess we'll find out. But it's just like, so details came out about the Wonder Woman cancellation and closure of Monolith, as reported by Kami on Twitter, Okami13. He says that Wonder Woman was going to have a Nemesis system in reverse, where you would talk to people and befriend them as allies. This was eventually scrapped when it was rebooted. Wonder Woman began production in May/June of 2021, but was rebooted in late 23. The game changed directors and it became a more traditional God of War style action adventure game. And then Monolith reportedly wasn't interested in making another Lord of the Rings games after their new original IP was canceled by WB in 2021. Monolith's entire leadership team and many devs quit. Monolith was forced to work on the Wonder Woman game while rebuilding their staff and the leadership team at the same time, which is, you know, as we said before, an impossible situation. Many of Monolith's team formed Cliffhanger Games at EA, and now they're working on a new Black Panther game. Wonder Woman was canceled due to 2024 being a horrible year for WB Games. They lost $200 million on Suicide Squad and another $100 million in Multiverses and quit as champions. This plus a reboot is what led to the cancellation, closure of the studio, and ousting of their CEO. Monolith devs had no knowledge of the studio's closure. They learned about it on Tuesday, shortly before we did.
Man,
I hope everyone at the studio finds a job soon, but like, man, this is such like a brain dead like way to run this into the ground. You know, they just legitimately said, oh, let's just tank it, and they did. You know, they did not give it a chance, which is ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah, there's probably some numbers like I maybe like because like they felt like they like were like, oh, we need to bolster some reports or for numbers or XYZ, and then like maybe they like needed to shift like or I guess reclaim some budget that was allocated, and they're like, well, if all the studio heads left and this is getting rebooted and it's gonna take more time, okay, just pull the plug. Which I'm not saying it's good. I'm trying to think like
From a money standpoint,
yeah. If you know that like you're starting from scratch, it's like, well, okay, man, I don't like if things are looking bleak and you know you have to start from zero, then like I'm not saying, oh, good job or whatever, but it's like oh, you like,
yeah, I mean the wheels are spinning in mud.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't know how to manage the thing. They're just like they're doing the wrong stuff, and it sucks because like apparently Monolith, like I was looking back at it and I remember people like were hyping up Fear, and they were saying for the time, like and even now I think the way it holds up is like the AI that they had was like super advanced, because like they were saying like it's like games right now, like AI kind of knows where you are, and it's like very like, oh, they're alert and like they'll chase you down, versus like this was like they called it like goal oriented AI, which is like it says, oh, we hear a sound, like okay, now go try to investigate the sound, and from there it's like, oh, you need to realize, okay, now the sound probably came from like these areas, and then they do reinforcements in this thing, like in this section.
Metal
so like
Gear had
it
stuff
was
like that, right? Like when it was,
yeah. So like I think like what I'm trying to say is like even like they had another game called I think it was like Condemned, like Bloodshot or something like that, where it was like you're like you're like this like FBI agent that's like playing in like this like solving like this like kind of occult style murder, and so you're running into like into areas where people are hiding in corners and like they ambush you, or they will like mimic themselves like as a mannequin. So like there was like a lot of layer in their AI systems. I'm just saying like that they had a very talented kind of group of
people,
developers in a studio, and like they like friggin' NEMESIS system, they made that as well. So like they have a track record of doing these great things, but like I there wasn't like, I guess I don't know if it's like they're like that they couldn't like implement trust like with like allowing their original IP to get implemented, but like they kind of they didn't lean again into their strengths, right? Like you see how people are working, but like they felt like, oh, if we're gonna have the Justice League and we have Batman in our repertoire, we need another game to kind of bolster this, right? It felt very like, oh, this is like the path we have to it's like I feel like a couple years ago in like 2012 to like 2015, everybody was like, I'm a Six Sigma black belt and I have synergy, this is how I'm gonna leverage my product line and blah blah. Like there's like ways of talking where it's just like, dude, it's so formulaic. Like, yeah, you have these IPs, yeah, you can leverage it, but like you have something even greater. Like you can't, it's like saying, oh dude, I love ramen and I love pizza, let me make a ramen pizza. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
there's some things that like you can't just like match these together. It's gonna be a great
you can't
hit.
algorithm your way into like success, right? That's what it feels like they're trying to do. Oh, Game of Thrones plus, or like Suicide Squad plus, like, you know, Rocksteady live service. Oh, it's like, okay, dude, like, no, you freaking ding dong, like that's not how that works. So I don't know,
it's unfortunate, man.
Well, there was some good news about this whole closure, things like that. We found out that Warner Bros. Owns the patent for the Nemesis system until 2036. So there's that. So by 2036, when that comes out, then you can play the next, you know, in 11 years, then you can use it next.
Release is that for Far Cry? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, it is. The thing is, so there are other studios that have been able to recreate the Nemesis system, apparently. Like there's like one in Warframe, they have a somewhat similar system and things like that, but it's just one of those things where it's like it's very anti-consumer, anti-art to do this kind of thing, you know? So yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
and they didn't even use it, man.
They didn't. They're like,
they did it.
They whatever. I don't want to talk about this. Whatever. Like it's done at this point. Like I have no faith in any WB game until like I see it and it like actually comes out, because I was excited for the Wonder Woman game. I was curious to see where it went, and it just didn't. You know, it died. It died.
I will say on the no, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go for it. What's up?
No, just go. You had something.
I was just gonna say she was killed in Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, and it looks like that one kind of stuck. They didn't retcon that one.
Bro, how you spoil the game?
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
I had it in my Epic Games library that I boot up every day. I was just gonna say, sub point, like props to Ubisoft, because they with Legion, like this is my someone had mentioned this, but with like Watch Dogs Legion, they kind of did a reverse Nemesis system, where like the Nemesis system was like, oh, you're playing, and anyone that you like, any NPC that you interact with, like you can build a connection with, and like they remember like your fight or how you scarred them or how they killed you, or like they build like it takes a random NPC and makes them like a fully fleshed out character.
Oh, interesting.
They kind of did that with Watch Dogs Legion, where you kind of recruit random NPCs and then those become your playable characters. So I'm curious to see if there's gonna be more creative liberties of having a system like this, because I think the technical patent is social vendettas and nemesis system. So what if you just make a system that's not a social vendetta, but it's like, I'm really upset with you, system.
I'm mad.
I can't be with this guy. Yeah, the trademark.
Yeah, there you go. Did invite me over for chai. -5 points.
Yeah, can you believe he didn't say thank you for the cake that I brought?
Yeah, salam. Oh man,
this is.
Yeah. Didn't invite me to hang out. Kill him. Get rid of him.
Yeah. It's a less aggressive nemesis.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. I guess I don't know. I'm tired of this at this point. But that leads us to the next story, which is kind of funny. I have no segue for this because it's just so out of this. Like, it's so crazy. So Destiny 2 context setting is that Destiny 2 functions in a very interesting way. The way Destiny 2 originally released, you cannot access any of that content in the game at this current time. They have sunset all the original content that came out with that game, meaning it's gone, can't access it. You can't even, like, there's no like lore in game. There's lore in game, like tidbits, but there's no like place in game to be like, oh, like here's a cutscene view or whatever. So much so that this story came up because there was this guy who made a fan fiction sci-fi writer named Matthew Kelsey Martineau. He filed a lawsuit against Bungie last year, alleging that the enemy faction called the Red Legion, which is the main faction that was the bad guy in the original Destiny 2, plagiarized from his like stuff, his writing, whatever. Now, whether that's the case, I don't actually know. This court case, I think, is still ongoing, or whatever the case is. But what happened is that he brought this up, and Destiny, the Bungie had to bring up a way to prove like, hey, no, we had this in our game, here are the differences or whatever. But they couldn't do that because the game content was sunsetted. And for some reason, they don't have a copy of the game content. They don't have this accessible anywhere to where they could present it in a court case like this. What ends up happening is that they had to go to YouTube and find a Destiny 2 fan video. His name is what's his name? Let me pull up the video here. It's a compilation of, it's a 10-hour video, a complete story of Destiny from origins to the final shape, the light and dark saga, lore and timeline. And it's a 10-hour video made by this guy named My Name is Biff, and he compiled this stuff about 9 months ago, which is interesting because this content was sunsetted before 9 months ago. So somehow this guy was able to find this content, put it all together and all this stuff. So they had to use this video in that court case to say, hey, look, no, this stuff actually existed before and this is how it is. And the reason I put this in the docket is just, it's such an interesting like situation that Destiny has put themselves in, that they sunsetted their own content, you know, and they don't have evidence that it ever existed on their own servers, I guess. So it's like...
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, bro, like you're telling me you don't have a drive of like rendered cutscenes or something. Like it's interesting. I'm curious if FNAF hits the same thing. Are they gonna pull up a video of Game Theory and MatPat?
Game. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, internet, it's game theory. My name's Matt Pat.
I think one,
Yes.
good on this YouTuber for, getting the clout from this article, things like that, and the monumental effort it took to compile this video. But another thing, it's like this is another thing with like live service games where it's like it's just such a weird thing towards like the original. If I wanted to get into Destiny right now, I would jump in and I wouldn't have any understanding of what's going on in the story or like any big points, because it's just like that stuff is just gone. I can't play it, I can't read it, I can't even understand it unless I watch this 10-hour video, which I think it's like a really sad state of affairs, because it's like, why are we okay with this situation? Why was this sunsetting of content like even allowed? One could make the argument that the original content I paid for is being taken away from me, and it's not like I'm paying a subscription service where it's like, well, you're getting new content in like, every month. You only pay like $10 at the beginning, but we're sunsetting that and you're getting new content for a new $10. No, you pay like the full price and it's gone. Like, that's it. You don't get that content anymore,
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like MMOs have had this for a while. So like, I'm surprised that they if there's like an expansion. I mean, I guess in this instance, like, since it is quote unquote live service, and is it free to play?
I think now it might be, but I don't think it came out free to play. Let me find out. Let me look it up.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, I guess like they probably they compensated you for buying the game, and then
it became free to play October 1st, 2019.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird thing because I know for like game like MMO expansions, they would still let you access like the old storylines and things like if you boot up Guild Wars 2, you can see things. But then that probably impacts like, oh, what kind of world shifting stuff can you do? Because like you can't modify the game world in a way that's like, oh, let's just say for like this next story beat, we're gonna just blow up a planet, but it's like in the base game, the planet exists.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Missions there.
It requires more work.
Yeah.
More narrative work to build something like this, to build the overarching story, all that stuff. You can't and that's fine. I'm not against that, but if you're gonna try to be a live service game, I think taking away content from players like that kind of really sucks.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb, but I don't know. I don't think the story has like a follow-up. I think it's just one of those things where like it sucks to see, and it sucks to be in a situation that we're in with gaming as of now, but hopefully it changes, but we'll find out.
Yeah. It is a video game headline.
It is. But something that did change in the past couple of weeks was that, very short story, but bullying companies works. Essentially what happened is that League, we talked about last week, League decided to remove Hextech chess from the game, and they obviously got a ton of flack for it. I think they lost quite a bit of player base as well. I think like they lost like 15 to 20% of players, and they're like, all right, fine, we'll bring it back. So they brought back Hextech chess, which is, it's good. I'm glad it's back, but at the same time, it's just like, who's making these decisions in the first place to think this was a good idea? But
yeah.
Now,
I mean, maybe. I think for them to kind of bring it back on their own accord or something, because like I remember like there was a time when I always stopped playing League, but I had the Amazon Prime subscription, and they would give you like a pretty stacked monthly bundle.
Yeah.
So I would literally just go to Twitch or Amazon, just redeem the thing and log out. It's like they got a lot of money off of me, or they lost a lot of money even though I don't play the game, like in possible skin sales and all this stuff. So they're probably hemorrhaging in some aspect.
Yeah, that's true. Very minor story. Just wanted to bring it up because it's something we covered before. So we'll see what happens next with it. I wonder if like they really lost that many players, so they're like, oh shoot, we have to like fix this, but we'll find out.
Maybe just like a narrative thing. They're like, oh, let's just like, we're the good guys now.
Yeah, okay, maybe. I don't doubt it. But something that could be left to doubt is these new rumors about Valve's new headset. Do you see these rumors?
I did. Look, listen, we were telling y'all before, Half-Life 3 is inbound. It's already being play tested, rumored to be play tested by friends and families of employees at Valve. There is now some mock-ups of uh, the new Steam headset, which is gonna do inside-out tracking and no longer require base stations, which is like like it's similar to the jump between the original Oculus to the Oculus 2. You didn't need to hang up any Christmas decorations to get the tracking. All the tracking is done within the headset, and so you don't have additional wires. So I think the rumor is basically saying that this is going to be fully bundled, priced out at $1,200, and is expected to be sold at a loss, which is kind of crazy to think about. But it will be bundled with some games, and it would be using the same operating system as a Steam Deck.
Interesting.
Like Valve's track record. I mean, every time they released something, hardware, they released a game. The Steam Deck, they released like this After Science gaming thing.
Yep.
I haven't really played it. With the Valve Index, they released Half-Life Alyx. So, given the rumors are lining up.
I mean, having played Half-Life Alyx, like realistically, right? Like it's one of those things where, and also these like rumors coming from this guy named Gabe Follower on Twitter. So if you guys are interested, you can check it out. The link will be in the description as well. But essentially, like I agree with you that whenever Valve does something like hardware or whatever, they release a game with it to like really like help sell that game. It's one of those things where like Half-Life Alyx has convinced me that like Half-Life 3 I think should be VR. Can you imagine a full-length game, and not to say Half-Life Alyx isn't a full-length game, but like a proper like 30-hour game in with all like the creativity that Half-Life Alyx had? I would love it personally.
Dude, I always wanted more. It was to the point that, like, I was gonna go download mods for Half-Life Alyx to play like custom levels or something. Just I think the game design that's built in the game is so good. I was really looking forward to see more games or like more content from Valve. So I think the part that's kind of crazy is the price tag, because like it's not saying that like, oh my god, it's substantial, but like in relation, it like the Quest 3 is like for $500, and like that is like a pretty substantial machine or headset. And Meta is like I sent you a screen. I sent Hedy a screenshot, and I was like, dude, look at the earnings report from Meta, and it's like they lost $5 billion in one quarter on VR, and so it's like that's a headset that is like maybe there's like marketing that is involved here, but like I'm not gonna say these are like one-to-one headsets, but like definitely Meta is heavily subsidizing their VR segment, and I'm curious to see like how Valve is gonna manage this. Like, because granted, 1,200 is a lot, but
I think 1,200 and they're still selling at a loss, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah. It's it's crazy. And one of the things like we forgot to mention was that they're apparently from the headset, one of the core features is the ability to play on a flat screen. So basically, like this might double as like the headset would double sort of like as a Steam Deck that you can connect to a TV, play it normally, or you can play, I guess, as a VR.
Interesting.
Unless my reading comprehension sucks. I mean, you can double check me, but
no, I mean that's how I understood it as well.
Okay.
Just two stupid guys on the podcast.
Oh, 100%, man. Hey, well, welcome to Beard Bytes.
Yeah. We're
what's
stupid.
The name again? Yeah.
But I'm curious. I want to see what this goes. I wonder when they'll announce it. Is the thing. I'm glad that Valve is like still in the hardware game, if that makes sense. Like they don't release many things, but the things that they do release are pretty good. Like the Steam Deck, most things. Steam controller not counting, but Steam Deck, Steam VR, the first version, and things like that. Those are like when they hit really well.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen, where this goes for sure. Just like I'm curious to see what this new Konami x Bloober team game is gonna be. Rumor has it
Bloober.
They made Silent Hill 2.
I know
the remake. Okay.
I had to lay it up for you.
Fair enough. That is, yeah. So I haven't played Silent Hill 2 Remake, but obviously it got really good reviews. And I think personally that this game will probably be Silent Hill. I would assume it's 1, because 1 I think is really good. And I heard that 1 and 3 are connected. So I don't think that they would do 3 without doing 1 first, if that makes sense. But
it is an interesting thing. Like you would think that they would start. Like I mean it, like, because okay, I was gonna say, bro, why don't you start from the beginning? But then you look at Resident Evil.
oh, yeah,
they don't do, oh, let's do Resident Evil 1. They just like, oh, let's go straight to 2. But then they're going sequentially. I'm curious to see like how they're gonna play it. Because also with Metal Gear Solid, like, are they gonna do like they're just gonna start on 3 and then work backwards in like the game historical order, or are they gonna try to do release order? That's such a weird like situation, you know?
Yeah,
because
that's true.
I don't know. I maybe I don't know if Silent Hill is in a similar situation of like the story is told in different ways.
Silent Hill, like, it's told in somewhat similar ways of like protag goes to town is, you know, whatever. It's more so there hasn't been a good Silent Hill release in the past like years. It's been like so long since it's been good ones, so people are like happy for remake. They're like, hopefully we get like good releases and good gameplay and things like that, things that don't play like garbage.
No, okay, no, I get that. I think what I was trying to say is more the, like, for example, like Metal Gear Solid, like canonically MGS1 is like in the 90s or like the 2000s,
right,
and then
right.
MGS3, the third game, is like in the Soviet era. So it's like, I don't know. Like,
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Because like, dude, that's gonna be such a. Actually, is the game called Silent Hill or Silent Hill 2? I'm curious.
I think it's called Silent Hill 2, no? Oh, you think they might do like a retcon?
No, like not a retcon, because like I'm just thinking like, dude, you're gonna have the worst marketing since freaking Wii and Wii U. Like, oh yeah, we remade Silent Hill 2, but then the next game we're making is Silent Hill 1. It's like, what are you?
Yeah.
Like, why are we walking? Like, you know, like I don't know if they called this one Silent Hill 2 like on the box, or it's just called Silent Hill.
Let's find out.
Oh, it's called Silent Hill 2. Yo, dog. What
yeah.
Yeah, that's such a maybe that's why they called the MGS3 remake
Delta.
Delta. They're like MGS Delta, and then that way you don't have to, like, you can own some of the marketing, like, because like now it's gonna be such. Like, otherwise, you're gonna have such a hard time convincing people or telling them like this is what this means or whatever. But it's good that Konami's finding their footing, because before they were just making pachinko games. So, and
yeah,
it sounds like they have a good.
They started making games again finally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll find out where this goes. You know who hasn't been making games recently? Netease Studios. So this story is interesting. Last week we talked about how Marvel Rivals, they had a team of 6 that were cut off, and it's one of those things where we won't know what so it came out what these guys did. These guys were a support team. They helped with, like, you know, bringing things to fruition. And so Netease said, oh, we could just bring everything to China, and so they just cut the US team. So people said, oh, like, why would they do this? It's like a very terrible thing for them to do. And it turns out that Netease has been doing this for like a while, actually. That Mass Effect, there was a Mass Effect veteran who worked at Netease. They had a AAA studio that was acquired by Netease, and then Netease said, hey, actually, we don't want to work with you anymore, so cancel that game. So they've paused operations, trying to find a new partner. Same thing with Halo Infinite's old head of design. They're halting work because their publisher Netease said, hey, we don't want to work with you anymore. And Just Cause, the studio, same exact thing, where they made, you know, Just Cause, and they were told, hey, like, we don't want to find a new publisher. And these happened like last year during, you know, some time, but it's one of those things where it's a trend of Netease kind of cutting different studios for different, you know, in different areas of the world. Netease has come out recently and said, hey, we want to have a global presence, but it's very strange that they're cutting all these studios. One would think that they could run successful game studios out of these. They haven't even gotten a chance to like put something out. I don't know if it's they saw something they didn't like, or they just don't care. I'm not sure what exactly is going on with that.
Yeah, I have heard that, like, the CEO kind of makes rash decisions. So I don't know if it's just like the situation where he's like, like one of the days he's like, whatever, I don't feel like it or something, or he just like at will, or like just like, okay, let's just go,
fair
or
enough.
something. Um,
Interesting.
Because like it's crazy to be like, all right, let's do this, and then like I actually don't do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say on this except for the fact that like I hope that obviously these people find jobs and these games do come out, because like these heads and these names that are being thrown around are pretty cool, and to hear they're making their own independent project is interesting. But it sucks that their publisher said, I don't feel like it. So just like, we'll see where this goes, I guess. But just like those studios, Crytek has also announced some layoffs. So Crytek, the studio behind Crysis 1, 2, and 3, and The Hunt, has essentially came out on Twitter and said, like so many of our peers, we aren't immune to complex, what's the word?
Unfavorable market dynamics.
Yeah, that's the word. Sorry. Yes, I was writing this down. Unfavorable market dynamics, to where essentially what's happening is that they have to lay off an estimated 15% of their 400 employees, which leads to the unfortunate reality of obviously, one, people losing their jobs, and two, Crysis is going to be put on hold in Q3 2024. Or they had put it on hold in Q3 2024. They've been trying to move people from that studio to focus on the Hunt Showdown 1896, which I think is the next Hunt expansion or game that's coming out. That also leads into effect that people think that Crysis 4 is probably going to be postponed, and Crysis just hasn't been doing great. There's the optimistic take of people saying that Crytek will, more resources for a better game, or one of those things where unfortunately monetization and all that stuff is just not good enough to really sustain the studio with the Hunt and things like that. So that's where that studio's at right now. I, again, wishing those people with job loss the best, but it is very strange to see that they're doing this as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because if I recall, I feel like I don't know if they made the game first or made the engine. Like if they were primarily selling their, like, because let me take a step back. Like Crytek makes the Cry engine, which like I think there's a good number of games that were using it in the past, but like not so much now. So I'm curious if it's because like they're losing, like they don't have that revenue stream, because like a lot of games are probably either running on Unreal or some internal engine. So like they like had they lost some money there, and then also I think, because I remember hearing they were struggling since like 2014 2015,
right?
So but like I heard like the Hunt Showdown is like kind of what saved them. So I kind of want to get back into it, I'm not gonna lie, like it, because it was an interesting premise of a game.
Yeah,
it was like a sort of battle royale extraction shooter, which had a like permadeath, which like had a very cool premise to the game.
Yeah,
and it's set like in this kind of
occult western.
Yeah, like you basically, it's like you and a buddy are like hunters, and there's like 3 other teams, so four teams of hunters. They have to go kill like this like bounty for like some grotesque freaking boss, and then once you kill the bounty, you have to wait a certain amount of time and defend to claim it, and then that leaves you open to get in third party, then like and having to defend. And you have to take into consideration the gear and the character that you have, because it's permadeath. So like if you bought weapons like in-game tokens, not like microtransactions, but if you can if you bought like an upgraded rifle or advanced skills, it's like, do you want to go risk that character for in order to kind of like yoink the bounty last minute? And then there's also like additional layers where it's like, hey, if you get the bounty early, you can go jump on the second bounty and get like it's like there's like this risk reward element, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know why we got back. Well, I have an idea. I think there was like a big overlap of folks playing it, and like I think we missed the train. But I feel like maybe we should give it a shot. If you want, this is just random. I was just thinking about it the other day, but
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down to try it out. I don't want to. I'm not against it. You know, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
But, let me see here. Okay, and then that leads us to the last story of the day, which is Skype, known giant in the industry, is shutting down. Skype is going to be shut down, I think, on May 5th. Yeah. Kind of sad to see. At the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like this is kind of inevitable with Zoom and Discord and Teams and all this stuff. It's just not sustainable. So,
bro, they fumbled it so hard, man. It's insane. Cause like that was the thing, bro. The freaking audio PTSD. God, bro.
Yep.
You have to go go talk to your cousin back home, and then they just throw that on you. It's like,
Or do your Quran lessons on Skype.
Yeah,
That's what I had it for. Yeah, I mean, I hope all those people, you know, find jobs. I do think that they were absorbed by Teams, so maybe that makes it easier. But yeah, it's just one of those things where as time goes on, like that used to be a verb, you know, like, oh dude, like, you want to Skype? And now it's just nothing, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Someone was saying that technically LeBron, if he plays past May 5th, will have had a longer career than the length of Skype being around.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of great, actually.
LeBron. Anyways.
But any closing remarks for the people? Any truth you want to speak or anything like that?
I got nothing right now.
Nothing? Okay. I'm trying to think. Do I have anything? I don't think so. Yeah, no. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week we're gonna move our recordings to Saturday because of Ramadan. Saturday or Sunday, the weekend essentially. So yeah. Next time it'll be, I think, what's the 8th, but we'll let y'all know. Other than that, you guys have
we're
a good
just
one.
+7, man.
Yeah, listen, math is hard, okay? Yeah. But other than that, you guys have a good one.
Take care.
All right, bye.